Hi, this is Keith Weaver with the Top Executive Strategy Podcast, where CEOs, COOs, and business owners share strategies for better success. This is 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best strategies are concise business advice. And so we're going to get to our guest today. And with question number one, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Porcelli, and some people say Porcelli. We'll go with either one. And I am the owner of Top Utah Speakers. So I help speakers get into the industry who want to get paid to speak. And that's my side job. My actual contract job is I'm an elementary school counselor. So I actually think it's a perfect fit.
That's awesome. And, a lot of, as we were talking a little bit offline, a lot of stress going on right now. And I think even elementary kids are feeling that, it's everybody. It's not just, adults, it's everybody in society right now is feeling the stress and the things going on. So
absolutely. Kids just seem to hide it better and move past things quicker than adults do, but they're definitely feeling it.
Right. So question number two, what's the best thing about being a business leader?
Honestly, I love that I get to decide who I work with and when. And I get to decide a lot of my content when it comes to the speaking world. I have really found a niche. When I work with businesses and corporations, everyone experiences stress. So I get to take my expertise. I have a master's in school counseling. And so I teach coping skills to my students. Then all I do is just tweak it a little bit, tweak my lesson a little bit, and make it a little more catered to the adults. And the adults eat it up. I've just learned that adults, they're just big kids. We just have more experience. That's all that separates us, right? Is our experiences. And sometimes we forget to go back to the simple stuff. We forget what we learned in kindergarten, truly. And that's the essence of life.
Very true. Yes. Well said. Well, so question number three, I hear from other business leaders that their people strategy can be more challenging than their actual business strategy in running their business. Your thoughts?
Yes, I have always found that working with people is the part that you really need to work towards, especially if you want to break into the speaking business, or if you're wanting to just be a business leader. You've got to learn how to deal with people. We always had, I guess it's not that funny of a joke, but we always talked about even people in the medical field, they're great doctors or surgeons, but they don't know how to manage an office. They can't run a business unless they learn how to manage that office, manage the clientele, and do the human resource side. And I feel in any business, you have got to learn how to make that connection with people so they learn how to trust you, know that you are an expert. Doesn't mean you have to be the ultimate expert of the universe, but they trust that what you're going to tell them is in their best interest. And every time I do that, it's just a win-win. And it's worked for me for 30 years.
Very well said. I don't think we have to add anything, so we'll just move on. So question number four, what strategy would you like to share with other business leaders?
Okay, so today I want to share a stress management technique. It's a formula called ACT, and I don't mean the test because that's going to cause you more stress, but the ACT formula. And ironically, I use this. I run a Hope Squad in an elementary school. That's a suicide prevention group. And a lot of people are like, we have to do that in elementary. I'm like, yeah, if we can catch it when they're little, when they become adults, they'll have these coping skills. So this formula I teach in the elementary because it works for adults as well. So ACT, A just stands for acknowledge. I think a lot of times people have a hard time acknowledging when they need help and that they're stressed or that something's wrong. Now in 2020, no one had a hard time acknowledging it because everyone was in the same boat. So there wasn't embarrassment. You didn't feel like a failure. If your business was going down, you could blame the pandemic, right? It's easy to blame something else because then you don't ever have to take accountability for it. Does that make sense? Good and bad. But I think if you can acknowledge it, and how you acknowledge that if you're experiencing extreme stress is look at your stress signals. Lack of sleep, and you're exercising every morning. So I applaud you. Sometimes it's like that lack of exercise and the movement. Maybe you are feeling down and depressed, sleepy a lot, you quick to anger, You don't have much motivation, which I think a lot of people, that might be one of their number one indicators in the past year. They've just kind of lost that spark for life. And so acknowledge when it's time to maybe reach out. And a lot of people, because even we did online schooling, so I'm like doing my notes here. Online schooling was great for a while, but people became so isolated. And I remember I was doing a group one time, and I've got to be careful what I reveal, but I had a student come in to me, and finally, we had summer break. We'd gone back in August, and this student came up to me and said, Mrs. Porcelli, I haven't eaten in 2 weeks. Nothing except for school lunch. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I said, it is time to acknowledge that we can do better. And in our businesses, we can acknowledge with ourselves that we can do better. And it's time to reach out for help. So that's the A, the acknowledge. Just be aware of it and don't be ashamed of it. If you break your leg, we go to the doctor, get a cast, right? But sometimes when we have something wrong with our minds, whether it's anxiety or depression, or maybe you're just feeling hopeless or you are quick to anger, maybe it's time to get some help. And C is to take care of yourself. So the C stands for care. And when I say take care of yourself, is a lot of times people beat themselves up if their business isn't working the way they want it to. Case in point, the last year, a lot of people lost a lot of business or were worried about their homes going to foreclosure, their marriages. They were arguing more with their spouses because of the contention. Their kids are acting up because their kids are scared. They're in trauma themselves. And so don't forget to take care of yourself. And I don't mean just go take a hot bath or go exercise, which is great, right? But we need to learn how to serve ourselves and to know when to say when. Sometimes it's time to pivot in a business if it's not working. Reinvent yourself. Get excited about something else. Go a different direction. It doesn't mean you were a failure. It means you saw the light and you're going another direction. Don't forget to laugh. I always talk about the selfie formula as well. Sleep is so crucial. Make sure you're getting the sleep you need. Don't oversleep. Do what you can with that light. In Utah, in January is not the easiest. This January hasn't been too bad. But you need to get your light. Exercise is important. Interaction, fun, and then eating well. So that's taking care of yourself. I always have this motto of no regrets. Even if you make a mistake or a hiccup, that's really not a mistake. That is your jump off point to learning. So when my students make mistakes, I'm like, huzzah, you did it. Now you know what does not work. Now you don't have to go down that path again when you're 35 years old with 5 kids, right? You can fail when the stakes are small. And then, so the ACTs, we talked about acknowledge and then care. The T actually stands for tell. And you can see how that would help with the Hope Squad. But tell is meaning to get some help, to tell a trusted person. My students, they say tell a trusted adult, but reach out, whether it's to your significant other, to someone in the community. It can be a counselor, it can just be even a friend. You need to tell them, say, I'm struggling. I'm really having a hard time, whether it's with your mental health, with your business, anything you're going to, and be willing to accept help. I have found, especially, I'm being so stereotypical, but especially in Utah, people are willing to give help, but they have a hard time accepting it because we are very service oriented, which is such a bonus for the state. Everyone knows Utah is service oriented. Part of that service is accepting it as well, because you're letting that other person serve you. If no one accepted service, we could never serve, right? So be willing to accept that service, and don't sit just growing moldy in your house when you need to reach out to a community leader or someone like that that really can help you with whatever it is. I just received a little bundt cake on my porch last week, anonymous. We saw who left it because I have a Ring doorbell, but I don't want them to know that. Sweetest lady in my neighborhood. And it just made my day. I'm like, somebody thought of me. And of course I received that. I ate that within a minute, but it's just different things like that. Be willing to do that and reach out, say help. Okay, you can see I'm a jabberbox, but that's what I wanted to teach, the ACT formula: acknowledge, care, and tell.
That's awesome. Well, and kind of pivoting this to business, obviously as a business leader and a business owner, to not only be aware of that, but be open to employees that, like you said, if they need to tell, if they need to do stuff, that you're open to those ideas so that they feel that they can approach you, obviously.
Oh, I love that. I love that take on that. Absolutely. Be approachable, be willing to put it all on the table. They feel safe. They can talk to you about anything.
Some great advice and great strategies. Thank you so much. So question number 5, what other business leaders, CEOs like yourself, would you like to maybe acknowledge, do a shout out to, or you think would be good on the podcast?
Oh, I have one that will blow your socks off. It's my brother, Kurt Osler. He's going to hate that I brag on him, but he was a millionaire in his 20s. I don't know the exact age. I usually say about age 26. I think he might have an associate's degree, but I'm not sure. But he has business savvy. He has people skills. And he used to knock on doors to sell printers for Les Olson Company when the printers were huge, like the size of a room. And I think they were supposed to sell like one every couple of weeks. He'd sell like one a day. He said, as soon as they'd open the door and see me, I knew they'd buy from me. And he used that. And then he created what you call the Roadrunner, the spiral bubblegum machine, and the claw that your kids waste all their money on to get the stuffed animals. That's my brother. And then he retired years ago. Now he's a city councilman in Highland. But I remember when he was about 12 years old, he told me, he says, Michelle, someday I'm going to be a millionaire. He doesn't take note. He's just fun. He said, you know how I even won city councilman? He says, I knocked on doors and I talked with people. Who knew that was the secret formula of making that connection and getting out there? But we're dearest of friends. He's best friends with my husband, and I'm best friends with his wife, Elaine. And so it just works really well. But he will knock your socks off. You need to invite him on. People will love him. He talks faster than I do.
That's hard to believe, but
yeah.
Well, great. We'll look forward to reaching out to him. So kind of a final fun question. Tell me about one of your favorite past bosses.
My favorite past boss would probably, I should have thought of that one sooner, huh? Okay. Probably my boss from a job I had when I was in high school. I worked at Big Apple Video, which was inside Dan's grocery store in Sandy off of 1300 East, I believe, and 80th South. And because we would do little movie nights, we'd close all the gates and let people, we would hide behind there and we'd watch little videos at night in there with all of our staff and stuff and just have fun. He'd buy us munchies. Keep us to integrity though, hold us to integrity, and kind of taught me that actually working can be fun and not a chore. But it's fun to be with the people and to love what you do. I mean, it's not that we love videos. Of course, those went out of business. It was a video store. But I just had so much fun because that was probably one of my first jobs. And so he's a great boss.
That's a fun story, though. Well, thank you for being here. You're just a great personality, great advice, and love it. Before we leave, though, can you tell people how they can maybe connect with you?
Oh, sure. I do have a website. Just go to michelleporcelli.com. So it's just Michelle, Michelle, and then Porcelli, Porcelli.com. And you can see me there. I wear crazy costumes. And you can see some of my crazy costumes from the past and some videos of different presentations I've done and some upcoming trainings. If you want to break into the speaking business, I'd love to help you do that. Let's get a training going. Huzzah!
That's great. Thank you again for being here.
You're
and this
welcome.
is Keith Weaver with the Top Executive Strategy Podcast. And for more insights, you can follow us at Weaver Business Coaching on LinkedIn. And of course, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. And we wish you all the greatest success.